And hi there, thank you for joining .NET Conference 2023 Seoul, and thank you for joining our session today. Also, I would like to appreciate .NET Dev community to organize this kind of awesome event. In this session, I'm going to talk about performance tips that I want you to know before starting to develop a Blazor web application. It includes some basic web knowledge and basic Blazor function. So this session will be help for the beginner of beginning web application using the C#. And first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Motoki Nakae. Came from Tokyo. Solution consultant at Infragistics. I work every day to solve customers' UI/UX problems with our knowledge and products. Since I used to be a web app developer before, I often have a conversation with customers who have the problem around web app development. And you can see the photo with me and my dog. His name is Matthew, cutest the chihuahua in the world. And if you are having a trouble around UI/UX or want to see a lot of a picture of Matthew, please get in touch with me via my email or my Twitter account. And CEO of Infragistics Japan, Ken Azuma, standing over there, and I flighted to Korea for this event. Also, we sponsored for the snack today, and we are opening the booth table. So if you have any question about my session or curious about our products, please come to our booth table. We have Korean sales guy, Don's Joe, so you don't have to worry about the language. Yep, just give me a few minutes to explain our company. We are Infragistics that provides well-designed and high-functional UI controls and components for developers all over the globe. This business is for over 30 years. Especially, we contribute to .NET development experience for a long time. You can use our controls in your WPF project, WeFormed project, SP.NET, and Blazor project. As you can see, we have a lot of major clients in worldwide, more than 5,000 clients in Japan, more than 1,600 clients all over the world so far. You can see some famous Korean companies over here. Okay. As I told already to you, having a conversation with a developer, having a conversation with a customer, of course, including the .NET developer, and hearing a concern or a problem from there, is my daily work. And this number is we had a meeting with customer 246 times last year in Japan. And honestly, I was worried about what content to be helpful for you in this conference. What can I tell for you? My answer is to share the common scenario that Japanese .NET developers are facing, and it would be unique and useful to you because you can refer to the story that happened in another country. And in Japan, exactly demand of Blazor was increased 2022. As you can see, around 44% of 246 meetings, the customer was interested in Blazor. most of them say, we have to begin web application development. We are looking for which framework is the best. How about Blazor? I heard 100 times a kind of this question. In this slide, I'm going to introduce one of common scenario in Japan. The developer works for the implementing desktop application for the system inside a plant or factory. The plant produces a huge amount of data for 24 hours in a day. Then their manager wants to see these data in the dashboard inside an application. For example, to see a defective rates of products or something, because of the manager have to move around a lot during their business time, doesn't settle down to the same place. This is because they want a web application to access from anywhere, anytime. And also, if this is a first challenge to develop the web application for them, they were concerning whether the web application works with a good performance or not. This story from a lot of different customers last year in Japan. But how about you? You might face the same situation as well. Okay. This introduction has become quite long, but there are today's topics. In the beginning, I'm going to talk about reason why I recommend you Blazor today. Next, I'd like to show the point you should take care for web applications performance. Then, I'm going to show you one of Blazor's tips for improvement of performance. After that, I'm going to show you the solution if your app needs more complex functional UI components without a performance issue. So let's go to the next slide. Yep. Why you should choose the Blazor. Perhaps in this kind of session, you have seen same content several times. So I just summarized why you should choose Blazor in this slide. Firstly, you must be familiar with C#, so Blazor is good to you. You can write a code that not only backend but also frontend with C#. It means you don't have to learn about JavaScript or TypeScript from the beginning to start to create the web app. Next, many Japanese our customers match this scenario, but since they develop client-server model for a long time, it is easy to adapt Blazor server for them. Then you can create a single-page web application with Blazor, and addition, PWA or Maui Blazor app can be created. As showcase perspective, as I told you, a lot of companies have selected Blazor in Japan already. And also, in all over the world, documents or YouTube video or some kind of reference information are increasing day by day. Then Microsoft and other library vendors, including us, Infragistics, investing a lot to Blazor. This is another important information to you. I talked with Japanese Microsoft chief before. They said they are going to recommend the Blazor instead of web forms and MVC. Yeah. From these several perspectives, I can confidently say now is the time to start Blazor. Okay, following these reasons, I recommended Blazor to the customer in Japan. Then, as I told you, most of them take care of the performance if they try to develop Blazor web app fastly. Indeed, there are some differentiations between desktop and web application performance tuning. So I'm going to explain about 3 points that you should take care of your web application. First point is load time performance. This is about how fast your web application load. For the desktop app, the time to execute the application and be able to start interaction for the user. For web application, almost the same, but the time to rendering web page through the browser and be able to start interaction. You can measure this performance easily with Lighthouse. This is the extension of Chrome browser. As the first step, you should check this matrix. It calls first content page. This is an example of result page. In the area enclosed by the net border, you can see that matrix, first content page, is the time from when the page starts loading to when any part of the page's content is rendered on the screen. This is an important matrix because if this time is wrong, it means initial downloaded sources were huge due to some kind of style sheet or JavaScript files or external resources or something. Additionally, it is not enough to improve first content page. You have to take care of the matrix called time to interactive as well. This is the time it takes for your page to become fully interactive. This means that not only the content is fully visible, but also all page event handlers have already been registered for the visible content. If you selected the Blazor server, you don't have to care about this performance, load time performance. Blazor server has an advantage in load time performance. On the other hand, if you selected the Blazor WebAssembly, initial downloaded file size tends to be huge. I'm not going to tell you in detail in this session, but I'm going to introduce several ways how to reduce the initial loading file size with Blazor WebAssembly. First, you can use Blazor to compress file over HTTP, and please note you can do that even if your server doesn't support Blazor by writing some code in your project. And I write one of the test results shows reduced file size is around 80% degree. Second, turn IR training function on. The function can remove unused source code from assembly. Test results shows 44% file size decreasing. Thirdly, installing WASM tools to your project. This is easy to use, just install the tools. However, a little bit improvement, like 7%. Lastly, if it's possible, you can cut the capability of the globalization and the time zone. This will be effective like 37% file size decreasing, and I attached the link to official documentation in this slide. If you are interested in the detail, you can refer it later. Please say something to me. Yeah, and I haven't write down in this slide, but pre-rendering technique is also doable for WebAssembly to improve load time performance. As you can see, many performance improvement methods are already available. Next I'm going to show the second point of web application performance. Second point is runtime performance. This is about how responsive the web app is to user interactions. Please imagine about applications interactions so slow. For example, response time to button click is slow. Your keystroke, key typings are reflected to the screen little late, little later. Too heavy to navigate a page or scrolling. These problems will occur the user's frustration. So this is also an important point. Chrome Developer Tools is a good solution to identify performance bottlenecks. Let's say that some memory leak seems to be happening in your web application. You can use the memory profiler provided by the DevTools in order to identify memory leaks in the application. I showed some kind of a capture of the checking the memory leak. Then I'm showing some guidelines to improve runtime performance. First bullet is about the DOM tree. To improve the performance, you should keep DOM tree less than 1,500 nodes in the total. The maximum depth is 32, and parent node doesn't have more than 60 child nodes. To following this guideline, it is better way to create DOM nodes only when needed and destroy them when they are no longer needed. I'm going to demonstrate how to achieve this way a short time later. Okay, a third point is the soft performance. This point is not easy to talk, not easy to measure. It is necessary to understand the UI and the UX knowledge deeply. So I'm not going to go to the detail in this session, but let me give you a sample. For example, how easy it is for your user to find and navigate to the feature they want to use. How appealing the look and feel of your application is. How good the error message your software produces to understand what the end user did wrong. Let me say it again. And this point is not easy, too hard. But ultimately, you have to improve this performance as well for your customers. Okay, and in this next topic, I'm going to introduce one of the ways how to improve the runtime performance in your web application, Blazor web application. Please remember the guidelines of runtime performance. If there are lots of DOM nodes in your application, like over 1,500, it will be an impact to your application. However, we often have to make a page with many elements. For example, like an index page to show all of records you have overall. Of course, you can consider about splitting their records to small portions, like 100 items on each pages and navigate with pagination link. But with this approach, the user has to click paging link again and again to reach the items they want to see. So I'm talking about component virtualization. This is an alternative way of pagination. This is a technique for limiting UI rendering to just a part that is currently visible. You can use these techniques for huge amount of looping content like list, card, or table content. Component virtualization is using a scroll bar to show all of items in a single page. And with calculating the position of scroll and just rendering necessary DOM inside a viewable area. Then, when rendered DOM go outside from the viewable area, it's going to be destroyed. This is an out-of-the-box function for Blazor, so you can use this so easily. It is pretty hard to explain with the speaking only, so I made an animation to describe like this. You can see the white area is a viewable area. The user can only see this area. And the gray area is the invisible area. It means the DOM is in invisible area is not necessary. So component virtualization creates the DOM nodes if it turns to visible area and delete it if it turns to the invisible area. This is component virtualization and how to write the code for virtualization in the Blazor. That is so simple, as you can see. Let's say about creating the table element with a regular way. We use for each to create each row inside the table, like top of the source code. And as you can see, the bottom of sample code, you can use virtualized component instead of using a for each. I added some property in virtualized component. Item property needs to be the assigned whole data you want to show. And I declare the item with context property. So I can use them context. I can use the item context to show each data in a single row, like for each looping. It is so simple. So let's take a look at the result. Firstly, I'm showing the result of non-virtualized table with 10,000 of items. As you can see, the application was crashed due to the out of memory. I cannot open the application. So I tried to reduce the number of items to 2,500. Somehow the page can be shown, but I was scrolling items inside the table. It is going to be the crash too. Yes, finally I'm showing the result of virtualization. As you can see, the page can show the table instantly, and it is okay to show items even if I scroll anywhere. It is so fast. I want to show other perspective. This is a changing of HTML DOM elements by checking Chrome developer tools. You can confirm that elements are going to be written by showing the right side, following to the position of scroll. If I scroll the tables, elements related. This is nice, and this is exactly easy to use to improve the runtime performance. If you have lots of looping content like a list or a table or something in your web application, let's try it right after this session. Okay, we could make virtualized table with the good performance. However, you can imagine your clients request additional functions to this table. The function is like sorting or filtering or selecting multiple row or something. Can you do that? Can you implement some kind of function to the table? Maybe I think maybe you would be able to implement these functions so far. But after finishing the implementation, you have to think about the performance again. In Japan, many developers face performance issues after implementing complex functions. To keep both functionality and performance, it's so difficult, it's so hard. Furthermore, I'd like you to remember a third performance point called soft performance. With a complex UI, it is too hard to navigate the end user to each feature. This means easily produce the bad user experience. This is one of the reasons why many business use applications have bad user experience. If the complex and high functional UI is required, I recommend you consider using third-party UI components. This is our representative grid control called Ignite UI Grid, IG Grid. Infragistics are researching user experience over decades, over 30 years. As a result, user-centered design applying to this grid. It means you don't need to care about the soft performance anymore. Additionally, a lot of features implemented like sorting, filtering, grouping, pinning, exporting, changing layout, and so on. You can this kind of functions turn on or turn off for each feature easily. And also, our grid knows as the fastest grid in the market. Please keep in your mind, you can be released from the stressful UI UX things by using our control. And you can concentrate to the scope that you should focus to. In the beginning of the slide, I introduced the common scenario in Japan. So, yeah, just showing what we've done to the customer in Japan. We support the developers with several ways. For example, supported them to adapt Blazor as a brand new framework, as like to convince to their manager to decide to select the Blazor. Also, we provide a training video to learn Blazor for beginner, solve their UI requirements through our controls. If they want to more dedicated support, we provide them consultation service like code reviewing or something. As a result, the customer could start the Blazor project without any anxiety. This is the example for the Japan, but if you have any concern, please ask me. Please feel free to contact me. Okay, through this session, there are 3 takeaways I wanted to tell you. If you hesitate to try to Blazor, no worries. Let's begin it from today. For developing the web application, you should care about the 3 kind of points for a good performance. If more complex UI required, you can rely on the professional like us, Infragistics. We love to support developers. Yeah, so please ask anything to me. Yep, that's all for my session, and I want to say thank you for listening, and I want to say again thank you for the 닷넷데브 community to having this opportunity. 정말 감사합니다.